Brothers and sisters and friends, this afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. We have a fight that's common to all of us. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to a fresh edition on this Wednesday, May the 14th, 2025.
Man, already. Almost halfway over.
We're still in season 2B, the ballot and the bullet. And with good measure, we got elections to talk about. So amongst other things, lots of things going on, especially this new victory. Everybody's real happy about. I've got about 1,000 messages since last night.
Okay.
We'll definitely be talking about it. And also, before we get too far into it, we got special guest Dave Pantos Esq coming on through.
Hey.
Yeah, he's gonna come through. We're gonna talk about this situation from Tenants United. Yeah, put your pinky high to the sky when you say
Esquire.
Dave Pantos Esquire. Good morning. Good morning. Tamika Johnson's giving some sunshine. If you're in the Omaha area, it's going to be 90 degrees today.
Man, hot.
With a heavy humidity level.
Man.
So make sure your loved one's air conditioners are working. RG says, I see y'all. Says, what do you say? I see y'all vibed up today.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anybody else surprised about the results?
Yes, I think surprise is a fair word.
We'll get into it. Sue Kessler-Hagen says, good morning and congrats to John Ewing Jr. I figured somebody would say his name first. I appreciate you. Yeah, Mayor.
Right. Mayor John Ewing Jr. Got to put some respect on his name.
There you go. RG gives us a good morning. Good morning. Sean McCarthy says good morning. Heather Williams says good morning. Hey. Kimber Snipes says morning, y'all. Leigh Keisa says, what's up Wednesday? What's up wonderful Wednesday? She put a wonderful on it this time. That's what's going on. Pop says good Wednesday morning and mad love from Las Vegas. Mark Manor gives us a good morning. And Sean McCarthy is firing it off, starting us off. Good congrats to John Ewing and everyone who worked on his team and got out the vote. And Heather Williams says, not at all surprised. Okay.
I'll be honest. I'm a little surprised.
I'm a little surprised myself. Mark Manor says, I'm heading to California tomorrow and it's going to be 60s. Says, I have to go there to get my weather. Got to go to California to get that cold weather now. I can stay in Omaha and get the heat.
Man,
I need.
Man, it's been pretty moist down here too, man.
Yeah. How was it? Speaking of down there, how you doing over there, buddy? What's going on in your part of the country this morning?
Man, I'm good. Actually, my mind and heart is with Omaha. Looking forward to planning my trip back this summer. So yeah. Heavy on my mind.
That's what's up.
Yeah. How about yourself, man? How you doing?
I'm doing not too bad. I could use a little more winks as always, but I had a couple of big projects that I was trying to get on the other side of. You know how that works, where you got something hanging over your head. When you finally get it over, get it off you, you can breathe a little bit.
Man.
So that's where I'm at. But that just means take a breath and get back to work because there's a lot to be done still.
That part.
And a lot of exciting things though happening coming up this year. So that's what's up. And it's all starting this summer, man. This summer is going to be like a legendary summer. Malcolm X 100 celebration
kicking off.
Of course, we got Juneteenth happening. This is one of the years, the odd years for Native Omaha Days is going down. We have the Freedom Festival coming up too. There's a lot of activity over the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation this summer. Like I said, I'll be putting some haps together on Friday to talk about summer activities. But looks like we'll also be celebrating the first black mayor, of Nebraska, this summer as well. So we walking into this summer real blackety black, and Pillin is upset about it. Man.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Pillin is big mad. Marla Harrison said, "Good morning, First Sky family. I got so excited about last night's election that I got sick and had to go rest instead of partying down North Omaha with the rest of the people." Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that anxiousness can get you sometimes. Take care of yourself, man. Yeah, I just got over that flu myself. Hot mess.
Man.
Sean McCarthy says, I honestly thought it was going to be close enough that this morning that they would still be counting votes. So I was surprised that the results were convincing so early. Yeah, we have learned that, they count votes, they count the votes that come in the mail, they do all that. It'd be Friday, but by the time you get a final number. But Mayor Stother did secede the race. She did announce, she did get up and make her announcement. So looks like it's a done deal.
Hey, Judy Prinzer said she putting that new hip to work. Much dancing today.
There you go. She gets you gonna cut a little rug today for sure.
Yeah.
Heather Williams says, I was surprised Miss Goodwin won. I really thought Ben Gray had it locked down.
Okay.
Yeah, and we knew that was gonna be a really, really, really close race too. But I kind of saw the momentum there that she had going on, so I'm not too surprised. Yeah, we'll definitely jump into the election results. Matter of fact, before we even get to the community updates, we can throw the results that are there so far out there. Of course, Omaha mayor. It looks like we absolutely do have a new mayor.
Oh yeah.
Looks like he won by a pretty big margin there too.
Decisive.
Yeah, up at the top. So that race happened there. District 1 race. Pete Festerson beat Mark Brannon. I put a post out with Mark Brannon. He has some really interesting things to say. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch that yesterday. I highly suggest you watch the candidates again, because there's a lot of people, even the ones that didn't win, are still doing some work and has some great ideas. So might be worth checking out. Omaha District 2, of course, that's the big race that everybody was talking about as well. LaVanya Goodwin beat out Ben Gray by a pretty big margin, and they both beat the incumbent Councilwoman Johnson. So that was a kind of a shocker for the district as well. And then, of course, if we go on, District 3, it's Danny Bagley, who beat out Pilipaters, who I thought had some interesting things to say as well. So that's we never got a chance to talk to Bagley. He didn't need us to interview him, I guess. So there you go. Also, District 4, which was a big contentious race as well. Ron Hugg, who also we did not get a chance to speak to, didn't have time for us. We did speak to Andrew Adams, and he had a few things to say as well. But he lost to Ron Hugg in District 4. And then Omaha City Council District 5, Don Rowe, he wasn't running against anyone. So and that was the case for also in District 6, Brinker Harding. So this is now that these things, it's coming to light. There's nobody ran against them, so they're just in there. And then of course the Council District 7, excuse me, Amy Melton won. We got a chance to talk to both Amy Melton and Tim Carter. And for a minute, it was a pretty close race. And then Amy kind of stretched out there in the end as well. So those are the election results as of now. And of course, there might be some numbers that change here and there, but it looks like that's what's up. So
it's pretty interesting. Change of the guard a little bit. Just a little bit, though. Mostly the same city council, but District 2 and mayor, which could have a big impact, at least for what we're trying to do. So very interesting.
There you go. Mark Mander says she knew weeks ago. You can tell in her interviews she was preparing the people who hate Trump because excuse for her losing. Yeah, I was thinking that too, man. Stother was when that ugly ad came out where they put a bunch of like transgender people behind Ewing in that ad and all that, and they tried to claim that wasn't him that did it. I was like, when they start playing dirty like that, they getting worried, especially this close to the race. So I think you might be right, Mark Manor. She knew.
Start slinging mud.
Start mud slinging around here.
Man.
RG said, folks thought I was playing when I said the lawns I saw that had McDonald signs ended up with Ewing signs. Yeah. Yep. When McDonald fell off the race there, it was, I think everybody was like, yeah, okay, well, if it ain't gonna be McDonald, even the people who was gonna vote for him now voting for Ewing. Tides are changing, like Black Dynamite saying. Good morning to you. Kimmer, I was wondering how you felt about this. She said, hate that Hug won. Yeah, when I talked to Andrew Adams, he actually mentioned your name. I'm gonna play you part of that tape. He had some praise for you. He was like,
oh yeah.
We talked about. I was like, oh, you got Kimmer behind you. Okay, all right. So it was interesting to me, and I thought to myself, okay, well, that means that he's got a little struggle. And sure enough. So that's what's up. She says, I actually like Don Rowe. That's what's up. That's cool.
Okay.
Melissa Hoochin Mayo in the chat. Good morning to you. I appreciate a new name here. She says,
Oh,
thank you
yeah,
for your intentional work to have real conversations with the candidates. Hey, appreciate that. Yeah,
man.
yeah. I think that's where we kind of stand out a little bit with that, the way we do our interviews and talk to folks and try to get to know them for real, and give them a chance to speak and so on. We even chose this editing style this time too, because normally when you do talking head videos, you edit out all the hms and ha's and restarts and all that. We left them in this time around so you can really see people actually really speaking without edits and get to know who they are for real. So that's what's up. Hood Table in the chat saying good morning First Sky and congratulations to Ewing. Appreciate you, Hood Table.
Hey,
Definitely check out the Hood Table on YouTube. More local news and stuff that's what's going on. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's jumped in and going for it. Mark Manor says when I saw Ewing signs up on Musette in Benson, that's when I knew. For those, Musette is a pool hall in Benson that I never go into. When with all the businesses that are up and down the street, it's kind of a little bit of a like a I don't want to explain it. It's kind of locals only type of bar. You know what I'm saying?
that's funny because I've been to the museum, but I'm a local, so
No, I don't mean like I'm a local too. I'm not talking about like local. I'm talking about like everybody knows everybody in there.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's a vibe of like a club of people that only go there. So anyway. So anyway, yeah, it's just thought that was very interesting too. So appreciate it. Lots of people chiming in today, man. I'm gonna give it some time, man. Another new name, Richard Green says, I want my alley fixed, graded in new rock. Now, if you can get that done in the next 30 days, I guess that means I didn't waste my vote. Okay.
Okay.
Heather Williams says everyone was sick of her citywide effort. Yeah, man. Feels like it. Linda in Chicago, good morning, says great day in Omaha. So excited John Ewing won. Her culture war garbage backfired. Yeah, man. The culture war thing, it got national news, that culture war thing at the end. It usually don't go that way for mayoral races.
We'll
She
dive
says,
into it.
She says, was hoping Mean Gene twin Amy Melton would get upset by her opponent, but we made some good strides. Appreciate that very much. Linda in Chicago says fireworks were going off in my neighborhood. Yeah, they were partying last night, big time, big time. Yeah, we'll get back into it. It's 7:12 already. If you believe in the concept of time, we have a special guest coming in. Dave Pantos is going to join us a little later on in the show and talk about the situation over there with Tenants United and City View and all things tenants' rights. And we definitely want to spend some time with him. Before we get into it, though, I do have a couple things I need to talk about today. Of course, this weekend is going to be really heavy. Everything that's going down with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation is kind of firing up this weekend on the 16th. At 8:30, the meeting of the minds is happening. I believe that our man Sherman L. Wells is going to be one of the speakers in the symposium.
Big
And
shout.
also later on that night, 6 to 9, it's going to be the youth poetry night. And that's going to be hosted by our guy Shamari Huggins. So
Hey.
firing up here, this Malcolm X Memorial Foundation 100th and 100th celebration that's going on. It's actually going to be going on for a little bit. They either got stuff all the way up until June 1st. So May 15th is kind of the kickoff date for a lot of things that's happening. Highly encourage you to go to Malcolm X Memorial Foundation website, get some more information there, and see what's going on. Of course, also this weekend is coming up, Rebuild and Transform. Friday, as a matter of fact, Friday is happening May 16th, 2025. Be there myself checking this out. So definitely register and check this out. Go to rtvomaha.com and register to come to this event. Going to be a lot of great speakers there, and more importantly for me, meeting more of the people that are inside the network, all the businesses, the black businesses and everything that's around that's going to be supporting there in their booths and everything else. I love going around meeting everybody there, and also seeing the youth. The Step Up program is in full effect. So I'm sure that the youth will be there too. It's always good to see hundreds of young people out there that are really trying to get down with stepping up in their lives when it comes to jobs and making money and summer programs and so on. So there's gonna be a lot to really see here in the Rebuild and Transform. We were trying to get somebody on to talk about this. We still may, because we want to talk about some of the speakers that are coming to this, but highly encourage you to register and come through. Like I said, I'll be there during the day and then I'll have to rush off. It'll be a graduation. My sister's graduating at UNO, so we'll be at Baxter Arena that night as well to get in. So yeah, man. Lots going on. Also, May 16th is happening as the Block Party 2 is going down Shout out to Omaha Performing Arts. Shout out to Culture House. Everybody that's putting this on. Legendary hip hop artists will be in house. And you definitely don't want to miss this. Shout out to Culture House again, who is doing a few things. Hip Hop Lab Block Party is happening on the 16th, 6:30. That's going on over there. I think they said they had something right before that too, right? Or right after? What was that? Culture Talk right before May 15th. So this is actually tomorrow. Culture Talk, So Fresh, So Clean with Marcy Yates, April Walker, Rick Edwards, Street Lotto. So lots of activities going on the next couple of days at Culture House. You definitely need to check into. Big time. Something else has been floating around. Friends of First Sky Omaha, Senator Terrell McKinney's really been trying to make sure that everybody sees this. You're invited to the Omaha Inland Port Authority Innovation District Plan. Really wants some heads to show up. Brother McKinney's real stoic, real quiet. He'll put out stuff that he thinks is important, but when he really starts sending it to your email box and saying, "Hey,
Man,
we need to show up,"
chiming up.
It's time to show through and come through. So, shout out to him for that. We'll put more information on Friends of First Sky Omaha here on this one because this is obviously going to be a very, very important one as well. And shout out to our partners over at Heart Ministry Center. Dignity for All. They're doing a financial literacy workshop every Wednesday, as a matter of fact. So this is today as well, the 14th of May. They got one more on the 21st if you missed today. But today from 2 to 3, it's going to be introduction to banking, bank products and services, how to open an account, introduction to budgeting, and introduction to credit. And the one that I'm interested in, introduction to home ownership.
Man,
Yeah, how home ownership works out here in Omaha, Nebraska. Love to know. Before we get to the next things, I just want to give Vince Furlong a shout out for putting information in the document from Documenters. Documenters is still going strong. And if you want to read some notes, I highly suggest you want to see what's happening with the Douglas County Commission meeting notes. For those of you that can't make Douglas County Commissioners meetings, here's the Documenters doing their job, creating notes. You can check it out. You can go to Documenters Omaha and then hit their notes and check it out and see what's going on. You can also do that for the Omaha Inland Port Authority meeting notes as well. So just a reminder that Documenters is activated again. And for those of us that can't make these meetings, they're there taking notes and we can still see what's going on and be a part of the process. So shout out to Vince Furlong and everybody over at Documenters that's doing the good work over there. And with that, I'm going to send it over to Buddy.
Lay it on him. I do want to acknowledge what Sister Kimmer is saying first. She's giving us a little bit more information on the Empowerment Network situation. So definitely go check that out tomorrow. She says the network arranged funder pitches for Black-led nonprofits who joined the fundraising cohort. This is happening tomorrow. Apparently, there will be national funds there as well. She says the cohort was led by Anna Barber, the major gifts fundraiser for the Smithsonian African History Museum. So big things popping. Big shout out to Sister Kimmer for giving us that information. Let's make sure we get active because this is the time, man. This is really the time. Definitely the team up with the Empowerment Network, tap in with what they're doing, but all activities in the community. Just because Brother John Ewing is now mayor, don't sit back and celebrate. This is the time to get active. This is the time to, hold him accountable and hopefully get some things done. So we'll definitely be talking about that today. Of course, the decisive victory of Brother John Ewing Jr., now Mayor John Ewing Jr., over Mean Gene Streetcar Sally. Got her up out the paint. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. I have some questions about that as far as just, people's feelings. Why did certain people vote a certain way? Of course, there's been some comments about, people shifting from McDonald to Ewing, what's behind that. So yeah, definitely love to hear your thoughts on that situation. And of course, it wasn't just the mayoral race. City council went down as well. We showed those results a little earlier. And let me hear about how you feel. Again, several districts represented on this show. So, how are you feeling about your area? What were some of the issues? Last episode, we talked about, for instance, in South Omaha, the car crushing situation of the car incinerator at U Pullet. Of course, now that Mr. Ron Hugg is moving forward in District 4. He was one of the voices that supported that situation. So anticipating a fight in South Omaha. But again, what are some of the other issues that you anticipate popping up in your area? So definitely let me hear your thoughts on that situation. And as Paul mentioned, we're definitely talking about housing today. I got Brother Dave Pantos coming through. Esquire. Pinkies up.
Put some respect on his name.
Yes. Again, brother's been putting in work and helping us fight the towers. He's kind of been a general in the fight of the towers, if you will, helping a lot of people pro bono in this tenants' rights situation, and actually chiming up in the Tenants United debacle. So we'll definitely be talking about that a little later on, talking to him. Special guests coming through, and of course, as if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, feel free to chime in. Let your minds be free, let your voices be heard. A lot of people have been speaking up on the whole Pillin comment. I definitely want to dive into that here in a second, but in the meantime, between time, about 20 minutes into this thing, Paul B,
Yo,
what's the word man?
Let's take a quick break and we'll come on back and jump into this conversation. Thanks for joining us this morning and coming in with a lot of good comments and chat chimers going off. I appreciate it. Do us a favor, share the show if you're on Facebook, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and share it with some people that you think might want to come in and have some good things to say and add to the conversation. We'll take a quick break and come right back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha in the morning.
My name
is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guy. Stay tuned.
Lead poisoning in children under 7 is scary, but it's also 100% preventable. Not only can lead be found in paint and soil, it can be found in many common spices, certain baby foods, and brought home from job sites. Children with lead poisoning might not show any symptoms until their levels are dangerously high. So ask your healthcare provider for a lead test for your child. You can help prevent lead poisoning in children.
Check 1 2 1 2. We got bad
check. I'm hearing a little buzzing during that commercial. Let us know if y'all heard that out there.
Yeah, appreciate that. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning. Everybody's real excited right now about what's going on, man. Shout out to Precious McKesson, who was working with us to get the message out. She just put this on her page. Let this sink in. In Omaha, Nebraska, a Democrat just beat a Republican in the mayoral race. The largest city in Nebraska just flipped parties. One way to look at it. Can't underscore how big of a deal this is. Good, hopeful news. Man, very interesting way to think about what's going on here. This is true. It's been a Republican mayor for quite a while, 12 years.
Man.
12-year run. Mayor Stothard hung in there for 12 years, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's quite a longest serving mayor.
And you know how we are. Everything is not just black and white. People did some good, people did some bad, but I think everybody agrees that they were really kind of ready for her to move on. And we need some new leadership here. So shout out, man. Congratulations, John Ewing Jr. For real.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to explore that a little bit as far as, is that the sentiment that people were just tired of Mean Gene? What was it that kind of drove people to vote? Of course, Pillin tried to, and we'll dive into his comments a little later on. Well, actually, let's dive into what he said.
Pillin is big man, and he's like,
man,
this side failed us.
Yeah, he's characterizing it as that. So, if can we get into what he said?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and hear these comments that everybody thinks is a little controversial, kind of.
Tinge of racism, just a tinge, a little sprinkle.
And you feel like after that there tends to be kind of a lull. Yeah. Are you disappointed in Nebraska Republicans because of this race?
Well, I'm certainly disappointed in what took place here in Omaha. We didn't have enough show up for the mayor's race in the primary, and we didn't have enough today. So, I think it's really important. I just call it spade a spade. We need to look in the mirror, and the mayor should have won handily, and it's turnout. As conservatives have relaxed.
Mayor, the governor calling a spade. Interesting.
Yeah. We'll dive into what that means here in a second. But just whittling it down to conservatives not showing up, Republicans not showing up. Is it just the blue dot flexing his muscle?
Good question.
I would love to hear from the people. What are your thoughts? Is it the blue dot showing out, or is it what is it? I can't quite wrap my head around it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is it just all support of John Ewing and you know, just feeling that he's just that overwhelmingly much better candidate?
You know, in from the places that I've gone to see him speak, and some of the people, some of the rooms that have been talking about him, yeah, they think he's a better candidate, and more importantly, I think they think he had a real chance to you know, unseat her. So I think people got really behind it, and this is, and Kimmer is reminding us, you know, he ain't the mayor of North Omaha, he's the mayor of Omaha. So it had to be more than just you know, just the people that the usual suspects that would have voted for him. It's got to be more. There's more people out here that got behind him, and I saw that firsthand. I went to several meetings where there were different groups from different sides of town that were fully behind him. Let us know how you, and you know, when I said, I said this once. I said when Brother Kasim and Brother Sherman got on, I said, well, we better go on and get Ewing in there. And then, you know, the very next day, I'm sitting at, you know, family foundation houses that are endorsing him, and not just, we, you know, no talk of we got to get Mean Gene out. It's literally just you know, like, he's a better candidate. This is the time to get him in. He's got 42 years of service behind him. You know, we know him. He's got a really good chance. So yeah, you know, a lot of different groups had to get behind him in order for him to win. That's really what's up.
Oh yeah. There is, of course, the controversial side, the political side of it. I do think that some of the comments, I think, I'm not sure if it was in this chat or a post on social media, somebody mentioned feeling like the ads that she put out backfired. Also, again, some of the racial things. I'm looking for the article. Channel 7 is, and actually you mentioned it, as far as there was some racial tones to this, and it actually made national news.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it towards the end they really started talking about, you know, the politics. You know, he was saying that she's aligned with Trump. You know, you know, everybody saw that ad that went out that had you know, that had like trans people behind them and all this stuff. They're really trying to start to appeal to the national argument way more than local politics. I mean, when you think about it, we're talking about a mayor. They can talk to everybody about picking up your trash and fixing the streets, all the way up to he wants transgender bathrooms and she wants to follow Trump's 2020, you know what I'm saying, plan. So like, you know, the interesting that it went up that went to that towards the end there. I think she was really kind of trying to grab some support here and there. So not sure. You guys are really going off in the chat. I can't even really keep up what's going on. Anthony Rogers right in the chat. Good morning. Says the anti-trans ad definitely backfired, but his answer on that issue wasn't very encouraging either. Yeah, he kind of said not really going to comment on things that are on any non-issues. This never came up before. Why is she bringing it up now? Of course, she denied that they were behind that ad. It was another group that was behind the ad. So yeah, lots of sloppy. To me, it was like lots of sloppy drama, petty stuff going on towards the end, and it was because people were getting desperate, and people's camps were, you know, they were kind of getting desperate, and we were both surprised about Pillen's comments. Governor Pillen kind of, I mean, like you said, you've never seen a governor that was so one-sided about a mayoral race this way. He don't sound like he planning on working with Ewing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we didn't show it in that clip, but in that very clip, you can go check out what he said on Friends of. But that question was asked, or whether or not he would work with Mayor Ewing. And I don't know, man. We'll have to see. We'll just have to see how this plays out. I'm definitely excited. There was a lot, you know, to be made about the spade is a spade comment, which actually NPR released an article about that very saying, which is quite interesting. Apparently, the saying, of course, goes back quite some time, back to actually Greek culture. They traced it back to, but apparently, according to this article, around the late 1920s, during the Harlem Renaissance, the word spade began to evolve into a code for quote unquote black people. So, calling a spade when a black mayor wins.
I mean, it's a stretch. Calling a spade a spade. It was doesn't really have anything to do with talking about black folks, but it is something interesting. A choice of words to say in this instance when a black mayor just got elected. So yeah,
And also tied with just the sentiment. Like, it was clear he did not want, for the governor to say the mayor should have won, like to say what should have happened, rather than just letting the will of the people be the will of the people. It's quite interesting.
Right. 7:30 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we have a special guest waiting in the wings. Buddy, what are some of the things we're going to talk about today while I get him set up to come in this morning?
Yeah. Well, of course, while we're talking about the mayor, also city council has come in, and really the question is now with a new mayor, one of the biggest things for us as we continue to fight the towers is how will this housing situation be handled? Of course, Mayor Stothert has shown that she hasn't really, and I think that actually might be also one of the things that backfired on her, as far as her inability or unwillingness really to address and handle the housing situation. We've seen several issues, come up going back to Tommy Rose, and I'm sure before that. But again, with the City View situation, with the Underwood Tower situation, not really saying, hey, let's get active, more so taking it's not my job standpoint. I'm pretty sure that backfired. So we've been looking at the housing situation. I think, looking at city council elections, how will new councilwoman
Goodwin.
Yes, Lavani Goodwin, how will she handle the housing situation? And again,
well, let's jump in and find out what the housing situation is from one of the ones that's got boots on the ground, soldiers in the game. Mr. Dave Pantos Esquire is in the house with us. Good morning to you. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Not bad.
Well, all right.
What's going on with you this morning?
Been a little while. Good to see you.
There was a lot of news last night. I don't know. I mean, this is Thursday, I'm glad to be on the day after a historic event in Omaha. I'm so proud of our community for the folks who showed up, for making the right decision. So that was really exciting. And
we don't allow no dogs on the microphone, so you got to.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't barked in like 2 days. This is Figures.
He's co-signing on Ewing.
He's excited as well.
No, he's really into politics. Sorry, if there's a way to get a dad joke in, I do it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I think this is a great opportunity to talk about housing and housing in our community. And I agree with you guys. There were a lot of opportunities for Mayor Stoddard to step up when it came to, not just City View, but, we had so many other examples, Flora and all the other slum type places that fell apart under her watch. And the fact is, and I see this all the time, I do about 1/3 and 1/2 of my cases is representing residential tenants. There's so little enforcement with teeth in terms of rental housing in this community. Time and time again, we see inspectors coming out and failing residential apartments, and then they reinspect and fail them again, and then the place gets shut down. And where do the people go? I have so many clients who've had their places shut down, but with no plan and no option. Sometimes the local nonprofit community steps up, and there's a lot of great people in the nonprofit community who do that kind of work. But you didn't really have the backing of the city broadly. You didn't get the sense that the mayor saw this, but as anything but a headache for her. So I'm hopeful this new mayor, who I think understands the issue and is certainly surrounded by people who understand the issue, will do better. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I'd love to talk about some of the work. Because in the end, you can't wait for elected officials, right? They're going to have competing priorities. And so great organization, super grassroots is Omaha Tenants United. They've been doing a lot of really important whoa, yes.
Yes.
That's it. Cool logo. They've been doing a lot of great work in the community grassroots for years. They hit prominence within the last couple of years because they've succeeded in actually organizing tenants unions at apartment buildings in the community, Bellevue first, Omaha throughout. And so you're succeeding when the opposition starts organizing against you. And so I'd like to talk about that for a little bit. And because I feel like there's a little coverage about this issue in the news, but it doesn't really, it's not very soundbitey what's going on, except to say, yeah, there's been an attempt to weaponize a normally neutral government subdivision or government entity, and we're fighting back. So here's what happened. Omaha Tenants United has successfully unionized several apartment buildings. They've had some real successes in addressing basic tenant issues. And so what we started seeing is some of these, and I should disclose that I do represent Omaha Tenants United, and I'm their legal counsel on this issue. So what we've seen is they started making claims, oh, you guys speaking out on behalf of tenants, that's unauthorized practice of law. You can't do that. And it's not. I mean, saying, hey, you need to repair the washing machine in the basement so that the tenants can use it. That's not legal. That's not practice of law. But they started making the argument in their letters. Didn't think much about it at first, but then a few weeks ago, early April, the Omaha Tenants United received a letter from a guy named Mark Weber, someone who, most folks haven't heard of. He's the kind of number one staff person for the Council for Discipline and the Unauthorized Practice of Law, which is basically housed within the Nebraska Supreme Court, right? So the Supreme Court is in charge of, among other things, governing the practice of law and lawyers. So if your lawyer steals your money or whatever, that's where you would complain. You go to this Council for Discipline, they investigate. If there's an individual out there pretending to be a lawyer, taking legal fees, that's where you go to complain. Hey, this person pretended to be a lawyer. It's unauthorized practice of law, and they would investigate that. In this case, it's a little different. What we're seeing is the organized landlord interests pulling together to file a complaint against Omaha Tenants United, saying that they're committing unauthorized practice of law. Basically, now they haven't disclosed all the details about the actual written complaint. They won't reveal that to us, who filed the complaint, but kind of just reverse engineering. It seems like this was filed in the fall by one or more landlord interests. And this was right after Omaha Tenants United successfully unionized a location in Bellevue, and was having successes elsewhere. And somehow it went through a process. And in January, there was a meeting of the Commission on the Unauthorized Practice of Law. And this commission is made up of attorneys, maybe one community member. And that's where it gets interesting, because a decision was made at that meeting to investigate. And then a letter was generated and basically saying, hey, we think this is unauthorized practice of law. We're not going to explain why we think that. They didn't do that, but they actually sent a separate letter saying, here's a consent decree. You admit that you committed unauthorized practice of law and you agree you're never going to do it again. And if you sign that, then we won't refer this case to the Nebraska Attorney General's office for further investigation. And that's pretty chilling to have, an arm of the Supreme Court of Nebraska saying we might refer this to the Attorney General's office for investigation. But we looked at it and we said, hey, there's no legal basis for this. But one thing I noticed after I was forwarded this complaint was the roster of members of the commission, one of whom is a known is probably the number one attorney representing landlords in Nebraska, was also on this commission and was one of the attorneys who said to Omaha Tenants United, hey, you guys are committing unauthorized practice of law. So it may very well be that one of the attorneys who was involved in the organized landlord response against Tenants United sits on the commission evaluating this alleged complaint against Omaha Tenants United. And this person is a lobbyist for the landlords. She's down in Lincoln, and she even testified that she files about 200 eviction complaints per month. And this person is on the same commission that voted to investigate my client, Omaha Tenants United, in response to all the great work they're doing.
Wow.
Man, that's no, very, very telling information, and just kind of confirms some feelings that we definitely wanted to speak more about with you, kind of going head to head with this beast that is the MOPOA, which you've been hearing a lot more about. And Brother Anthony Rogers right in the chat, kind of going along with my thoughts. He says city view is the symptom, but MOPOA is the disease. What are we going to do to dismantle the toxic entity? That's the question I have, and I'm right there along with them. I hear a lot, hear what you're saying as far as the government entities in the body of the Supreme Court. But what about this kind of cabal of property owners?
Yeah, and that's really what we're dealing with here is the landlords are well organized. They're financially backed. And yeah, honestly, I do a lot of work in eviction court. And the landlords always have attorneys. It's the tenants who show up unrepresented. And there's a lot of other things associated with that, which, that could be another conversation. But the fact is that they're organized, they're funded. And but Nebraska state law does say that it's illegal to retaliate against tenants for organizing tenant unions. It's illegal. I don't know how that ended up in there. I think it was kind of just a carryover from, when they created the Nebraska Residential Landlord Tenant Act, they were using model language. Somehow that stayed in there. It's great. It kind of just sits there, and it wasn't unused until recently. And now we're making the argument, hey, this is retaliation, isn't it? Right? It's organized retaliation against tenants for organizing unions. So we look at Sitterview. That's a great example of a building. If there had been a tenants union there, let's say 3 years ago, how much different things would have turned out. Because what you have with Sitterview is a classic symptom of a building that was owned locally. A lot of folks said, hey, this is a great place to live. Then it was purchased by Zadig, which is out of state, Florida-based, now going through seeking bankruptcy protection. Go figure. And now they're, so they're in a receivership. They're going through bankruptcy, and we have elevators that don't work. All these safety issues. People, a lot of people with subsidy from the government, from Omaha Housing Authority. They won't renew the subsidy, and then it's like, here's your moving packet, go find another place. It's just another example of that. Now, it's a little different than a couple of the other situations we've seen in the city, like Flora. I represented a lot of those tenants, and others where it was just kind of shut down and people had to scramble. This is more of like a slow rolling disaster, right? Where it just becomes worse and worse and worse. The subsidies are getting cut off, and people are trying to find places. And again, it's unfortunate that we don't see the city backing up the tenants, leading a coordinated effort to help them. So now it's more grassroots. But that's really my message is like, you can't wait for the government to step in. You got to get organized. And so that's why what Omaha Tenants United is doing is saying, hey, let's get in front of this stuff. Let's organize the tenants. Let's provide one voice for them so they have real leverage against these powerful landlords. Some of them, again, are out of state. And, if they won't do what they're supposed to do, we can organize a rent strike. That'll get them to listen. other activities, which I would argue are legal. Maybe there haven't been very many court cases in our state about them yet. Let's push the boundaries, kind of see where that goes.
Is there anything around the state that you've seen that kind of gives you hope? Like we've seen some things in Lincoln, they've changed a few policies. There's of course some conversation at the state level. Anything that is kind of a light at the end of the tunnel for you?
I saw a lot of good bills being introduced in Lincoln. Senator Spivey, I worked with her on some language that would cap late fees. Because what I'm seeing is, and I've had a few clients like this who, they might be, this is a great example of a case. I got to share this with you because this will blow your minds. So basically I had this client who was, paying her rent. She was on a lease, always paid on time. Then it came to renew the lease. And the landlord kept sending a lease that had all these errors in it. So she said, oh no, you misspelled this. It's the wrong address. And then, so they said, well, we're just going to move you to month. And then they started adding a $250 monthly fee on top of her regular rent for going month to month, even though, my client wanted to sign a new lease. And the landlord said, oh, sorry, that was just an error. But then they started charging her late fees based on the $250 and then late fees on top of the late fees to the point where she ended up, according to them, owing like the full amount of rent, like another month. And so then even though she paid rent on time every month, they filed an eviction against her and they won. As, again, before I got the case. So you can kind of see the shenanigans that are occurring out there where people are getting pushed out, even though they're paying rent on time, or they're being forced to be charged these fees. That's why these tenants unions will be so effective to get ahead of this kind of thing. I see the question from Mr. Rogers right about LB 266, which would basically usurp the authority of local governments to establish rent control. And this was something that we were seeing in our community where we just see rents going up 10, 15, 20%. And we were able to kind of get the Flatwater Free Press to cover the issue. It's nice to see Seth Cope join the chat. He's with Omaha Tenants United. So Seth is here. That's great. Basically, there was this organized effort from the state, and I'm sure the individual who's on the commission for unauthorized practice of law, was part of the push to remove the power of local governments to enact rent control. Okay, so we've lost that. That's a challenge. Maybe the new city government can challenge that in court. It's an unconstitutional usurpation of home rule. I think that would be a great argument. So maybe there's some effort to do that. Hopefully, maybe a third party could do that. So I think we need to fight back on these things. We need to be organized. We need to fight back. The fact is this, buying a house is getting more and more expensive for young people, especially. So people are just going to be in the rental market, and they're at a huge disadvantage. You see these leases being generated by landlords now, 50, 60 pages, addendums that have addendums, and no one's reading these leases because they're just sent through DocuSign. You just click, you sign. You don't know what you're signing. You don't see the I think what should be illegal late fees, the other provisions in there that greatly affect their rights. Who's sticking up for them? Who's looking at the bigger picture? You got Omaha Tenants United doing that. They're organizing the tenants. We really got to pay attention to that. I do want to make a pitch. There's actually a fundraiser for Omaha Tenants United Legal Defense Fund to fight back against this weaponization of a government agency. It's going to be this Friday in Benson. at is it called the Pet Shop? Is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
we're gonna
Yeah.
get to that. Yeah,
Oh,
Pet Shop.
the pitch is there.
Yeah.
As if
Wait,
on
let
cue.
me break into
Yeah.
the conversation here real quick. It's 7:49 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us, we're here with Dave Pantos Esq. He's been doing some work with the tenants. We're talking a lot about Tenants United, Omaha Tenants United, which is a organization that we've been kind of partners with for a little while.
Yeah.
Just talking about the people who really got that going. And of course, they've been in the news a lot lately, right now, because they're kind of getting attacked by some landlords that kind of group together and is trying to act like they're doing something illegal. Brother Pantos is a lawyer, and he does all kinds of different work in the field of lawyering. I found out recently, but we know him best because he's been kind of front lines, boots to the roots on the fight here for tenants' rights. The Tenants United program we've had. We've talked about this before in the on the shows, and there was a fundraiser I'm putting a link to right now, a PayPal that was linked to Omaha Tenants United. If you want to donate, I would definitely click that link and go ahead and do that, because they're always needing to raise funds, for things like lawyer fees and everything else that's going on here, so that they can continue in that fight. So we appreciate you coming in and really kind of updating us up on what's going on with those things. Just about every show we talk about what's happening with housing, city view situation. Of course, we have all these citizen journalists going around, like Brother Sherman Wells, who will go down to the towers with cameras and really kind of expose what's going on. And we've had Brother Hassani Lee on several times too. We also are still doing a fundraiser for the Underwood Tenants Group, which I'll also put in the chat if you want to donate to that group as well. They're still fighting the towers, the fight with OHA on trying to get those conditions together as well. So shout out to Brother Hassani Lee and the work that he's doing. Kind of a whole army of folks out here, including yourself. Like Buddy calls you one of the generals earlier on this in this fight, and it's really interesting. I've myself even been been a victim of some of this. I was in a house one time early on when I got into town, and the landlord had beef with the guy who was actually on the lease and wanted to kick me out, and gave me 3 days to get all my stuff and get out. And I didn't know the law here yet, and so I scuffled and scraped to try to get out in that 3 days, thinking he was going to send he was saying he was going to send the sheriff over and everything to get me out in 3 days. Of course, years later, I found out that it's illegal to do that. You can't just give somebody 3 days that way. So this is something that's also been close to. It affects all of us right now. Everybody's rent is high. People can't find places to be. They can't find clean and safe places to be if the rent is low enough for them to be there half the time, because landlords just kind of in this state just kind of do what they want, feels like sometimes. So lots of people in this fight soldiering, and we appreciate you who's in the fight as well. One of the main ones who's consistently there and using your skills to help the situation out. Very much appreciate that. We forgot to tell you in the beginning to don't really look at the chat. We'll bring the chat. You can get caught up looking at the chat because the chat goes off. I do appreciate everybody who kind of is giving respect to the fact that we have this guest on, and direct your comments and questions to our guest so we can respect his time. I appreciate people that are in other conversations here, but just remember what we're here for, and that we're here to try to get down to some knowledge here with our guests. So I appreciate that. Appreciate your comments. Anthony Rogers, right? We wanted to bring that back up, the MOPOA situation that we keep talking about too. I'm learning more and more about it the more we talk about it and how that's affecting everything. Well, let me ask you one question before we move on here.
Great.
Now that we have a new mayor and other city council members, I know you've been paying attention to the race, and I know that you had some opinions about certain city council members in certain districts, and also what the mayor's going to do. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel for any help with what's going on with housing and tenants' rights with the new guard that's coming in here after this general election yesterday?
Yeah, I think the mayor. It's a strong mayor position. I think Mayor-elect Ewing has a great opportunity to, first of all, appoint a new city attorney who might take a more active role in enforcing ordinances. That's the current city attorney's office. I don't see anything happening there. Certainly not going to get anything from the county attorney's office. So that's a real opportunity right there. We've got the planning department. We need new folks there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We could see he can appoint a special commission to investigate some of these major issues. That's a low cost way to get some information out there that we can use. So there's a lot of opportunities. I think look at the city council. A lot of stuff didn't happen, I think, because you had that 4-3 majority, not enough to overcome a veto. That's not an issue anymore. So I think he can come in. I think he's got a mandate to address this issue. You look at the numbers. This was not a 51-49 election or 50.5-49.5 election. He won by 12 to 13 points. Right. Mm-hmm. That's a mandate for real change on this issue. I think the question was City View a factor? I mean, there's experts who are going to talk to the voters and find out the deal, but I do think that the people who are activated and motivated to vote for change are the same people who are impacted and affected by increasing rents, substandard housing, and all these issues. These are the ones who showed up to vote. So he's got that mandate. So he can get in there and appoint the right people and bring together a commission to address these issues of substandard housing, of slums, of these out-of-state landlords who are disrespectful of our local folks and what they're paying for maintenance, and all these other issues. And I invite that opportunity. Love to participate and help in any way I can. But let's keep the pressure up, right? Remember with politicians, they don't see the light, they feel the heat, right? And even though Mayor-elect Ewing's our guy, we need to keep reminding him who put him in office. So let's keep the heat up.
Well, I was going to give you the final word, but it sounds like that was a mic drop moment right there. So appreciate you, man. We got about 3 minutes left in the show, so we really appreciate you. We'll go ahead and let you go about your business today. Please stay up with us so we can get some updates on your efforts and what's going on. I always love to hear from you. And anybody else you think we should talk to from Tenants United or anybody, let us know. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I just had one last question for anybody that might be watching. If anybody has any issues with, their landlord or a living situation and can use your services, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can go to my website. It's just pantosesq.com. My office is just, Paul definitely knows where my office is because I see him there every now and then. I've got a private office at Elevator Spaces in the Old Market. It's very welcoming, open place. Feel free to reach out. Yeah, there's my website there. But yeah, there's a contact form on the website. And if you need like 5 minutes of legal advice, hey, is this legal or whatever? Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help out.
That's what's up.
There you go.
Also hit him up for the other services that he does. He does lawyering for businesses and all kinds of things.
Business, nonprofit, if you need a will, all that kind of stuff. If I can't do it, I will point you in the right direction.
All right. Nice. That's what's up. Put some respect on his name.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming through, Brother Pantos, man. It's always a pleasure. We will definitely catch up with you very, very soon.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, peace.
Yeah. All right. There you go, Tony Johnson, it's not a bad idea. It says a renting 101 class or events in North Omaha would be key. There's a few people doing some housing. I think actually Dave just did some stuff with Ivy Black Girl as far as rental and housing and things like that. So there's some people leading the charge. But yeah.
Heart Ministries, I think, is also gonna have done something too.
Mm-hmm. Actually, they got some coming up. You mentioned that in the Haps.
That's a financial literacy class that they got coming up here. But I've seen them do housing as well because they really well. There's an introduction to home ownership on this, so they do some housing, and of course Heart Ministry Center is helps with, sometimes they help with people's rent situations too. So I mean there's some resources out there, and of course you'll find out also this weekend too if you go to the Empowerment Network event that's happening at the CHI Center. Definitely register and check this out. There's a lot of vendors that'll be there, and there's some vendors that he talked about some of these nonprofit organizations that kind of help with housing and rent and tenant situations there too. And there will be businesses there and booths there from some of the businesses that are in the network that can help as well. So it's just like how we talk about all the time. We have all the resources right here. We just have to make sure that we know about them and can tap into them and get the help everybody needs for this. So appreciate him coming on. I appreciate you guys in your staying on point with the questions and the comments, and really trying to get to some knowledge here, some bottom line knowledge about what's actually happening, understanding what can be done. And we'll keep on. This is an ongoing thing. As a matter of fact, next season is going to be Spaces the Place, which we're going to be really concentrating on the spaces here in Omaha that we occupy, and housing and all those other subjects. So we got to talk about
it. Black Diamond.
It'll be a meditation time. We'll go off camera, and you can deep dive into your own mind and
think
about
your own thoughts. Deep dive into your day.
Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, of course, a big shout out to brother Dave Pantos for coming through. Again, if anybody has, any, I guess we all got a leg in the fight as far as this whole housing, fighting the towers situation. And, if you want a roof over your head, man, and you don't already own your property, even if you do, man, property taxes is all wrapped up into one, man. So continuing to fight the fight. Big shout out to brother Dave Pantos. And of course, shout out to all of you for tuning in to us here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. Big congratulations to Mayor-elect, brother John Ewing Jr. Definitely excited to see what he does next. But again, like brother Pantos said, hold him accountable. Let's keep him reminded of who voted for him, who got him in office. And let's, keep working. Not a time to relax. Let's apply the pressure, man. I really like what he said. They don't see the light, they feel the heat. I like that. But yeah, other than that, man, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. Of course, look out for our weekly wrap on Friday.
You gonna give me a chance to sing the line?
Oh, I'm sorry. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey, my bad.
Never get to do it.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, man, let's get on about it here, man. Go ahead, let the people know what's going on, Paul.
That's what's up, man. I want to give a shout out to Pops for coming on. I said what's up to him earlier. Also, my sister came on earlier as well. Shout out to her. Congratulations on your graduation that's coming up. Proud of you. And also the new job that's happening too. Proud of you very much. Pops says awesome show and historic day. See you all on Friday. Most definitely. Yeah. Also want to give my congratulations to brother John Ewing Jr. There was a picture that was going around here that I should have grabbed, because I kind of wanted to show you guys just the legacy of what just happened. Not just the fact that this is the first black mayor. It's also a big change because Strother was in there for 12 years. 12 years. It's just a big change altogether. But this picture that's floating around First Guy Omaha is kind of a legacy picture. It's what Precious McKesson and Brenda Council and brother Ewing. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of made me feel something, because I have, there's history there with my family and everybody there, just the fact that we work with Precious these days, it's Paul B and Precious McKesson, and then I'm thinking about how Miss Council, Brenda Council, told me that my great grandfather helped her get her campaign going back in the day when she was running, and she was actually running for mayor as well. First, she would have been the first black woman mayor if she'd have won. And she didn't, and she won, and she lost, not by a landslide. She kind of lost, it was kind of a close race. She almost made it. And also talked to brother Ewing as well. Brother Ewing Sr., his father, worked with my great grandfather on some of those city contracts we were talking about back in the day when my grandfather had a flooring company, and brother John Ewing Sr. Really was the integral in helping him get some of those contracts. So just seeing these three together and thinking about the legacy of Omaha. And people who've been in service for 42 years, like brother Ewing, and a long time also for Brenda Council. And now we have the new guard in with Precious McKesson, history making P, the elector, and the fact that they're all connected to First Guy Omaha, to the family. They are First Guy fam. You know what I'm saying? And now we have this legendary day with this new black mayor that just came through. Him and his wife was hand in hand and really going for it, and really appreciate all the efforts that they did. I saw them everywhere together, really, really making it happen, really out there. So shout out to brother Ewing. Congratulations. And let's turn up the heat.
Man.
Let's turn up the heat.
Time for some action.
Appreciate everybody that joined us today. We're going to get out of here. Shout out to the Umaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak with you, and for also speaking with us. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you as well. I appreciate for the most part everybody is coming in and respectful and not being petty, but also really kind of adding to the conversation with some good facts and knowledge, and also some good questions. I just talked about Brenda Council running and how many votes she lost by, and look at this. Heather Williams just said she lost by 735 votes. So
Man,
it's like as soon as we speak something out, we got somebody in the chat that has the data and helps us out. So that's the beauty of what we got going on with the chat, and that's why we try to keep the chat as cool as possible, because we can't really do it without you. It is the highlight of this show. So appreciate you as always. Join us Friday. We'll most likely have a special guest on too. I'm kind of waiting for confirmation. Special guest coming on Friday as well. But if not, join us Friday. We'll be talking about all the things that are going on, all the haps that are happening that's coming up this weekend. Lots of big stuff happening. This is a heavy summer. And so, make plans to get out, make plans to go to some of these events that are coming up. Joy Fest is happening. Also, Juneteenth is happening. Native Omaha Days is happening. Malcolm X 100 is happening. Just so many things going on. Festivals, all kinds of stuff happening. And we need to figure out which ones we're going to go support and go get with and really kind of take care of each other on that too. We'll also be talking to Brother Kasim coming up about what's happening as far as security efforts are concerned for all these events that are happening. So that we can really get together, have a good time. And don't forget, Buddy's coming to town soon as well.
hey.
Yeah, man. Chat Chimers Kickback is happening. And also Content Creators Camp this summer. We got a lot going on. We got to talk about it. And we'll start that conversation on Friday. So with that, take care of yourselves. Remember, it's 90 degrees outside today. So, yeah.
Man.
Take care of yourself. Make sure that the elderly ones in your families have their air conditioners working and everything's on point, and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green.